Aloha. Welcome to the 41st Annual Hawaii International Film Festival presented by Halekulani and our discussion with the Anita team, the team from Anita with Director Longman Leung and star Louise Wong. The film festival is presented by Halekulani. We're very honored to have the U.S. premiere of Anita as part of our Spotlight on Hong Kong, which is presented by the Hong Kong Economic and Trade Office of San Francisco, HKETO. And again, my name is Anderson Lay, and I'm the artistic director for the festival. Before we start this Q&A, I want to just give a quick land acknowledgement, acknowledging Hawaii as an indigenous space whose original people are identified as the Kanaka Maoli or Native Hawaiians. And before we start again with the Q&A, I want to give some quick housekeeping bits. For programming updates, for up-to-date information on additions to our program and the full schedule of films, events, HIFF talk story sessions, and Q&As, visit our website at hiff.org, hiff.org. Also, audience award voting. To participate in our Hawaii News Now Audience Award voting balloting, please cast your vote via ballot in theaters or online at watch.hiff.org, on our apps by voting with the 5 stars on the film's page. Vote for your favorite narrative, documentary, and short film. Mahalo to Hawaii News Now for their support. Okay, without further ado, we're very honored to have the Anita team here with the Q&A, and we're again with the U.S. premiere, and we're honored to have the film presented in the theaters here at HIFF. I'd like to welcome Director Longman Leung and the star Louise Wong. Welcome.
Hello.
Aloha. And also we have Kevin Ma, a friend of mine, and also extraordinaire when it comes to Hong Kong cinema, critic, film writer, you name it. He knows them all, here assisting with any interpretation. Thank you, Kevin, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So we're going to just cut to the chase. Anita Mui, she's a legend, not only in Hong Kong, but around the world. I grew up with her. I'm not from Hong Kong or Chinese, but I know of Anita Mui through her acting in many Hong Kong films, through her Canto pop. She was really known as the Madonna of Hong Kong. It's very much she's very famous for that. So this is a very there's a lot of pressure, when you're trying to portray such a legend on screen. So to director, how are you involved with the project, and what did you want to bring to just to portraying Anita on the screen in this biopic?
我都用中文講啦嚇。咁其實呢個 project 不是我的題目嚟嘅，係阿江老闆，即係安樂公司江老闆佢大概2015年嘅時候俾呢個題目我嘅。咁其實我多謝江老闆俾我呢個機會啦。我哋劇本其實都進行咗2年，拍攝咗半年。因為疫情關係，我哋去到今日先同大家見面咯。
So this project actually didn't start with me. It started with our producer, Mr. Bill Kong. He approached me with this project in about 2015. It took us 2 years to write the script and about half a year to shoot the film. And due to the pandemic, it took us this long to finally release this film.
And of course, Bill Kong, probably one of the most famous producers working in China and whatnot, for Western audiences, his many films like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon and whatnot. But I read somewhere that, he was a very close friend with Anita. Is it true that, he made this promise to Anita to make a film about her?
呢個要問翻江老闆啦，因為我同佢做咗咁多次訪問，佢每一次講翻差唔多18年前關於十面埋伏呢一部電影，本來係邀請 Anita 做嘅，但係到最後都唔能夠等到佢呢個，但係佢都同阿 Anita 講係應承佢要拍一部戲，老闆一路都記喺心裏邊，直至到15年。佢覺得時機係成熟啦，所以就嘗試揾唔同嘅人去睇下邊個可以擔當呢個任務，最後就揾咗我啦。
So you have to ask Mr. Kong about that. But from the interviews that we've done together, the story I heard is that 18 years ago, Mr. Kong wanted Anita to be in House of Flying Daggers, the film by Zhang Yimou, but she couldn't be in the film. And he sort of kept this, but he did promise her that he would make a film with her. And he's kept this promise in his heart for all these years. And in 2015, he finally felt that it was the right time to get this project off the ground.
So, I mean, like I said earlier, Anita Mui is so famous and so iconic. She's one of a kind, right? And then it must have been a very difficult process to find a newcomer to portray such a legendary actor, singer, you name it. How did you? I mean, with Louise, was it an open casting call? Were you approached? I mean, I believe this is your first acting role, correct?
Yeah, it's my first one. And
So please, I mean, how are you? I mean, was it just was the representatives who? Because I know you by trade was more as a model, right? And then so was it was a casting agency approached you to basically audition for the role, or how were you involved?
So maybe I also answer in Cantonese.
Sure.
其實佢哋係喺一啲網絡嘅平台 inbox 我去嗌我去 casting 嘅。咁我當初係唔係好了解電影行業啦，咁所以我其實係唔係好知道，我係要去做咩嘅咧？咁但係佢哋之後有嗌我去預備一首男音，一首即係幾十年前好舊式嘅嗰種嘅歌啦，同埋一場戲就嗌我去 cast 嘅。咁我都考慮咗一段時間，咁都想跳出自己嘅 comfort zone，即係除咗 model 之外，想試下其他嘢，咁所以我就去咗個 casting 咯。
So actually, they approached me through direct message on the social media, telling me to go audition. They asked me to prepare a 9-yin performance and a scene. And at the time, I didn't really know much about the film industry, so I wasn't sure what to do. And I was a bit unsure what I want to do or not. But I really wanted to jump out of my comfort zone, so I decided to try it out.
And Louise, were you? I mean, growing up in Hong Kong, were you a fan of Anita? Anita's work in films?
其實我係有少少同 Anita 同妹姐嗰個最光輝嗰個舞台嘅年代係有少少錯過咗嘅。咁但係因為透過呢部電影，我都了解多咗妹姐嘅故事啦，佢嘅好多心路歷程啦，同埋嗰個年代嘅香港嘅好多情懷咯，咁都好感動到我，同埋都影響咗我好多嘅。咁所以甚至乎拍完呢部戲之後，我都成為咗妹姐嘅一個忠實 fans 啊。
So actually, the period I grew up in and Anita's sort of peak era, we sort of didn't really overlap. But
you're very young.
Yeah, but while doing this film, I learned a lot about her story, her emotional journey, and what she stood for. And in that process, after making this film, I sort of turned into an Anita fan as well.
So, for Director Director Leung, so how did you work with Louise to really kind of capture kind of the essence of Anita, and for your film?
其實我多謝佢好努力啊，因為30年阿梅艷芳40年嘅人生，佢喺80年代成名。其實我哋睇翻咧，當其時係真係有唔同嘅腔調嘅，粵音嘅腔調係有變化嘅。我多謝佢真係好努力去學習，喺妹姐佢留低咗好多寶貴嘅電影啦，同埋訪問啦，咁。佢都係好努力去學習佢嘅腔調。咁有時喺 off screen 嘅時候，佢唔係阿妹嘅時候咧，突然間覺得有啲唔適應添。點解你講嘢好似唔同咗咁嘅咁樣
？So I'm really grateful for Louise's hard work, and it's true that Anita, her most popular period or most prolific period was in the 80s, and the way of speaking and the way people sang sort of were different. And luckily we have a lot of archival footage for Louise to study. And in fact, when Louise isn't acting, I was a bit, I couldn't get used to it because it was weird, because hearing her speak on camera as Anita and then seeing her speak as a different voice, it was a bit weird.
Yeah, I mean, it's uncanny. I mean, like, it's I was very impressed by your performance, Louise. You did a fantastic job.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, I'm as a fan of like Hong Kong cinema, I felt like the 80s and 90s is definitely a golden era. You know, you have Anita, I mean, you have Leslie Chung. They're so like intertwined in the, you know, like this, like someone's this bygone era. How I mean, director, I mean, I know you grew up in that age too, you know, with this whole kind of heightened celebrity of all these Hong Kong iconic actors and stuff like that. It's like, how was it as a director, a writer and director? How did you want to capture that era? Because that era doesn't exist anymore. So how do you? I mean, Louise is very young, so this is like, you know, she's, you know, so this is kind of like, how do you want to inform younger generations of Hong Kong audiences about this golden era of Hong Kong?
我都同好多朋友都分享過呢個問題。其實呢部電影我係想有即係起碼3個 achievement 啦。第一個就係我哋同妹姐一齊成長嘅朋友，希望睇完之後唔好走出嚟鬧我哋啦嚇。咁第二樣嘢就係同我哋一齊成長，好似我哋咁我未同妹姐做過嘢嘅，但係都喺呢個時代成長嘅。睇完呢部戲我會好掛住佢。第三樣就係希望完全冇接觸過梅艷芳、唔認識佢嘅新一代，可以睇完呢套戲嘅時候，去 Google 下 search 下邊個係梅艷芳，咁就係我哋希望做到嘅事情。
So actually, I have 3 goals or achievements I want to achieve with this film. First, I hope that people who knew Anita wouldn't give us a hard time after watching the film.
Yeah.
Second of all, I hope that people who, you know, like me, who grew up with Anita will watch the film and really miss her. And thirdly, I hope that those who didn't grow up seeing Anita will watch the film and then will go and Google about that period and her work.
Yeah. And now I believe the film is finally, you know, in the can. I believe you're working on the local release, right? It's coming out in Hong Kong very soon. How is the press so far? And you know, I mean, again, your 3 points. The first point you said, you know, hopefully the Anita super fans will not get mad. How are you kind of leveraging that? Like, those are obviously creative decisions you have to make in your script, right? And how to accurately but portray such an iconic actor in person, but also accurately do it, you know, like, it's like, what were some of the things that you had to leave out and leave in, for example? Because you could make a whole series about Anita if you wanted to, right? So
呢個Louise 答啦。
冇啦，你答啦呢個。係咯，我係演啫嘛。
其實我哋做咗啲 screening 啦，即係 private 嘅，即係俾阿妹姐啲 fans 啦、朋友啦去睇我哋個 cut 嘅。咁大部分都喜歡，同埋有啲唔好意思嘅就係公司常常都睇完之後好快捉佢哋做訪問。咁其實大部分嘅朋友都，譬如女士啦，都妝都溶緊啦，都喺度流緊淚啦。咁其實係或許香港人或者亞洲嘅觀眾會比較熟悉梅艷芳嘅一生嘅時候，係會容易啲代入嘅。呢個我係承認嘅。咁可能外國朋友睇嘅時候，或者因為Anita 呢個人確實距離有啲距離，即係同佢哋係有啲即係distance 啦。咁可能有啲 plot 佢係未必太明白嘅。呢個我哋都知道嘅。
So we've done some private screenings with fans and, of course, friends of Anita. And funny enough, the film company set up cameras outside screening, capturing people coming out. And a lot of the female audience members, their faces were melting because they're crying after the screening.
My face was melting too.
Thank you.
And the response have been pretty positive, generally positive, and I do realize that those audiences in Asia or in Hong Kong who did grow up watching Anita, they will feel they will get a different level or understanding of the film. And I do realize that people in the West who didn't grow up with Anita will feel some distance, or they might not understand the sort of emotional implications of certain parts of the film. But sorry，導演最後個 point 係
呢個我明白咯，即係只能夠講我明白啦。
So yeah, so I can understand. I can say I understand that.
Yeah, I mean that's very true. I think it resonates more, especially with people who grew up with Anita and know her work. But again, it's such a universal story. I mean, it's a rags to riches story. It's a Star is Born. This is a universal story that can cross over with non-Asian audiences as well. So I think if you are say not a fan or don't know of her work, you could still get the story and get that she was an amazing person. Yeah, I mean, and it was so great to see the kind of her navigation through the entertainment scene with gangsters and her illness and whatnot. It's just absolutely incredible story. But so I know we have to wrap up now, but Louise, this is your first acting role. Are you now wanting to act more full time or
definitely
okay
yeah, it's very interesting. 即係 for 我嚟講係好有趣嘅一個新嘅經歷嚟嘅，同埋係都係一個新嘅技能解鎖啦。咁我覺得好，即係透過呢套戲，其實除咗 acting，仲有唱歌啦、跳舞啦，都好多謝團隊嘅安排，俾咗好好嘅老師我，所以各方面都係新技能解鎖嚟嘅，所以我都願意好想可以再嘗試更多唔同嘅角色咯。
Yeah, so for me, it's sort of like multiple achievements unlocked because I have to learn how to act and how to sing and how to dance. And I'm so grateful for the team that helped me train in those things. And for me, I'm really interested in exploring other roles in the future.
Well, for a first acting role, you did an incredible job, and such a lot of mounting pressure on you to portray such an iconic person. And Director Leung, you did also an incredible job. It's a worthy biopic, and I think the Anita fans will be very, very proud of this film. So congratulations for all your hard work in making this film. So yeah, absolutely. So this concludes our Q&A, and I want to thank again the Anita team. I want to thank Louise and Director Leung for being on board. Also, Kevin, thank you so much for your interpretation. And a special mahalo to all of our HIFF sponsors, board of directors, and our HIFF Ohana members. If you are able, please consider donating to the festival. Every dollar counts towards keeping HIFF presenting great content like this in the future. Learn more and donate at hiff.org/donate. So again, thank you to Anita team. If you can say aloha to your fans, and then we hope to see more work from you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay.